Hi everyone, the purpose of this video is to go through the GI tract, and we're going to talk about the absorption, the digestion, and then the nutrients that are absorbed. So here we go. The first organ of the main GI tract is going to be your mouth. Now the mouth is going to have mastication, which is just simply chewing your food, breaking it down. And we're going to have carbohydrates in our food, protein in our food, and then fat in our food. Now, when we look at the chemical digestion, we're going to have amylase, and that's the only chemical digestion that's occurring, and that's going to be taking carbohydrates down to glucose. So here is going to be the first enzyme, amylase, that works on carbohydrates in the mouth. That's basically the gist here. And then we're going to have the esophagus, which is connecting the mouth to the stomach. So we have our esophagus. And then we're going to have that lower esophageal sphincter, and we're going to enter that stomach. So here we have our stomach. And in the stomach, we're going to have churning that's occurring. So churning is going to be basically mixing your food with the stomach acid. So what happens now is we're going to have carbohydrates, we're going to have some glucose, so I'm going to abbreviate with a G, we have protein, and we have fat coming in. As soon as this actually occurs, we are going to be releasing our first hormone, which is gastrin. So gastrin is going to do two things. So it's going to basically release stomach acid and pepsinogen. And this process is going to start the chemical breakdown of protein. So HCl is going to change pepsinogen to pepsin. And this pepsin is going to be taking our proteins to amino acids. So that's going to be the chemical digestion that's occurring in the stomach, is predominantly going to be proteins. Now, another thing to think about is this intrinsic factor. So intrinsic factor is required because it's going to help us basically remove vitamin B12 from our food so we can later absorb in the ileum. The only nutrient, quote unquote, that is absorbed in the stomach is going to be alcohol. So alcohol is absorbed in the stomach here. So that's the gist of what's going on in the stomach. Now we've produced this chyme, and we're going to go into the small intestine. So here, excuse me, is our small intestine, and there's going to be 3 different compartments. And what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to draw the pancreas. So here we go, the pancreas. So this is going to represent the pancreas. Plays a big role with digestion. And then I'm also going to draw the gallbladder. So this is our gallbladder. This is all occurring in the first section of the small intestine, which is your duodenum. The duodenum is not going to do a whole lot in absorption. So the only thing that we're going to absorb is most minerals. So most minerals absorbed, because we still need to do a lot of digestion from the pancreas, as well as the gallbladder. So if we're going to look at the hormones that play a role here, we're going to look at CCK. So CCK, or cholecystokinin, is going to release from the pancreas enzymes to help break down the carbs, protein, and fat. And it's going to stimulate the gallbladder to release bile, which breaks down fat. We have another hormone that occurs, so I'm just going to change the color to maybe blue here, that is going to stimulate the pancreas. So secretin is another hormone that is going to release bicarb or bicarbonate from the pancreas to neutralize that chyme. So essentially, when we're looking at the duodenum, what's coming in is the chyme, and we're going to have carbohydrates, We're going to have glucose, we're going to have proteins, we're going to have amino acids, and we'll have lipids. So really important for these enzymes of the pancreas to start working on continuing to break down our 3 macronutrients. Next, we're going to look at the second part of our small intestine, which is going to be the jejunum. Here, we're going to start more absorption. I also want to mention, which I didn't, the mechanical digestion that's occurring is peristalsis. So this is going to be continuing to occur throughout the both small intestine and the large intestine. So once we're in the duodenum, now we're going to have glucose, we're going to have amino acids, we're going to have still some fat because bile is trying to still work and do its job, and we'll have some fatty acids. So absorption, what's going to happen is our water-soluble vitamins, so water-soluble vitamins are going to be absorbed, our glucose is going to be absorbed, and our amino acids are going to be absorbed. So we're having a lot of absorption here in the small intestine because that's the primary role. Finally, we have the ileum, which is our last part of the small intestine. And this is really going to be able to allow us to have that fatty acid fully broken down from the large molecule of lipids. And all we're doing now is absorption. So we're going to absorb fatty acids and our fat-soluble vitamins, which is going to be vitamins A, D, E, and K. And we have that one outlier, that vitamin B12 that's absorbed in the ileum, and this is due to that intrinsic factor that we use in the stomach. So that completes the small intestine, and now we can move into the large intestine. So here we have our large intestine, also known as our colon. And we're going to be doing still peristalsis, and we're going to be absorbing a couple of other items. So it's going to reabsorb water. So that's a really important piece to make sure that our stool is not watery. And we're going to be absorbing our sodium, our potassium, and our chloride are all absorbed here. At this point, now we are going to kind of continue making our waste. Just a note too, vitamin K is produced from our gut bacteria. So the fiber in our food is going to basically feed the bacteria, and then this bacteria produces vitamin K. So that's kind of a fun little fact. And then whatever's left over, we're going to excrete. So that is the gist of the GI tract.